So we had a shooting in Orlando, like what, a few days ago, right? In Israel, they do shooting all the time. So many people are advocates of gun control. In other words, it's not gun control, by the way. It's taking away guns from the hands of the people. It starts with control, and then it's taking it away. And the argument is, listen, guns kill. Guns kill. And if you take it, there will be less mass killing like this. And that's a mistake. And let me explain to you why, and I'll tell you what it has to do with us as Jews, hopefully. Ezrat Hashem. In America, I think there's something like, there are more guns than there are people. Okay? Most of the guns are owned by law-abiding people. They don't break the law. They don't do, citizens don't go and shoot each other, and they don't, just, those who kill with guns are terrorists. And by the way, there's, terrorists, criminals, drug traffickers, mafia, people like that. So you think that, for example, if I'll take away guns from people, I'm going to make it illegal for a person to own a gun. You think it will be an end for this kind of killing? You got to be kidding me. If it's not that, so you see what they do in Israel. They run them over with cars. So what are they going to do now? Make cars illegal? It doesn't take a gun to kill, to be a mass murderer. Look at, what's his name? Johnny Blue Eye. What's his name, this kid? This guy. Timothy McVeigh. He blew up the whole building with what? With fertilizer? It's not guns that kill. It's the people that we allow to kill. Let me ask you this. You think that 6 million Jews in the Holocaust were killed by guns? For crying out loud, they were gassed. Most of them died in Auschwitz, in Birkenau, in Bergen-Belsen, in Treblinka. They died with gas. They didn't die because they shot them. The Germans would not shoot a Jew. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. So they gassed them, and it's much more efficient. It doesn't take a gun to kill, to become a mass murderer. And let me ask you a question. Before guns were invented, people weren't killed? People weren't murdered? So they're going to stab them with knives like they do in Israel. So what are you going to make? Knives illegal. So I'm going to take a kitchen knife. So you're going to make kitchen knives illegal. I don't know if all the Jews in the Holocaust would have been allowed to have guns if we would end up in the same thing. Imagine all the Jews that died in the Holocaust. Everyone had a gun. Look what happened when the Jews resisted in Ghetto Warsaw. Look what they did. They drove the Germans crazy. So imagine 6 million Jews with a gun. This would not have happened. Many times, we use the weakness of a person and we'll say, we'll take care of it, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. So I can have more budget as a police department, so I can have more budget as a politician, I can have more control over unions. It's not always for the safety of the person. And here comes the Torah and teaches us a lesson. You have to put shotrim v'shoftim. You have to put law and order in place. It has to be. People have disputes. People have arguments. Those things need to be settled down. But above all, it's an educational problem. Because when we teach our people, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha," you should love your fellow Jew or a fellow citizen like you love yourself, the same Torah that told you, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, also tells you, Hakam le'orgecha, ashkem le'orgo. Hit with a preemptive strike on those who want to kill you. In other words, first of all, you go with love. But he wants to kill me? I'm not going to wait for him to kill me. I'm going to hit him. The problem is with labeling things. Like, for example, there's a big rhetorical dispute between the president and what's his name? The other guy, Trump, right? Are we allowed to say the dirty word radical Islam? The president says, we know who the enemy are. But you need to define who your enemy is. And comes the Torah and tells you the same thing. Zechor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember what Amalek told you. In other words, you need to uproot the bad from inside of you. But when you don't define who is your enemy, you don't define what's bad, you can never take care of it. And that goes to yourself as well. You know who your enemy is inside of you as well. If you're going to give them different names, instead of calling the baby by its name, you're never going to be able to deal with that. If you are an alcoholic, right? You will have to say, what do you say? You stand up and you say, I am so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic. You have to say your name and you have to admit that you're an alcoholic. Or imagine if a person would say, oh yes, my name is so-and-so and I drink because my father beat me up, because my mother left me out, because like this. You're never going to deal with the problem because the problem is never you. The problem is always something else. But when you call the problem by its name, you can use it. So you could learn, look at the world around you. Look at the world around you. And you can learn a lot about yourself. You see, you have liberals on one side, you have conservatives on the other side, you have terrorists in the middle, and terrorists, not the dangerous terrorists that come from within. How many people will have to die? I mean, all this rhetorical argument about this one is a lunatic, this one is a crazy man, this is only good until the next one comes around. Now, all this thing, you can take them all out and bring it up about yourself. Inside of you, there's the liberal side, who wants to take away all your liberty, by the way. You have the conservative side that tells you, listen, restrain yourself, do this, morals, and so on and so forth. You have the terrorist inside of you. You are a world. So don't just sit there and watch the 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever o'clock news and think that it has nothing to do with you. You could sit back and actually understand a lot about yourself, because those processes that happen outside happen internally inside of you. And each one of us has the homegrown terrorists inside of ourselves. We have the lunatic inside of us. The lunatic is in my head. You know the song? You know the songs they have? Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon.
Great song.
Yeah, I don't like Roger Waters, But, overall, everything is inside of you. You have the radical inside of you and you have the hippie inside of you. Now, you need to understand and you need to be able to identify and call each and every one. And you need to make sure that everything is known. That like this, you can deal with it. And you deal with it, and if you have a problem yourself, deal with your problem. See, that's my problem, I'm going to deal with it. Don't try to use rhetoric on yourself. And by the way, the best thing to do is to gain control. If you have an influx of information inside of you, foreign ideas that seem to overwhelm you, you need to withdraw. Go back a little bit. Close the borders. Put a fence a little bit. Right? Put a fence. Invest in your education. The strength of a person, as the strength of the nation, comes from its integrity inside. and not from forces who try to break it apart for their own advantage. So look at it outside, take a good look outside, and try to reflect inside on yourself. You are the chief of staff of your own self. You are the commander-in-chief. You are the driver. You are the soldier. You are the cook. You are the world. We are the world. You are the world. What do you do with it? Or are you going to do something about it? Or are you going to do the same thing that you do to the world outside? You're just a passerby. You're just looking. You're not becoming an activist. Because if this is your attitude, so is your attitude towards yourself. If you have the attitude of I'm just looking, I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round, I'm just watching things happen, I don't get involved with things, the same thing will happen to yourself. You would see things that are bad in you and you would never change them. And that is not acceptable. Therefore, have a nice day.